Okay, time out. I'm here to introduce Network Special, the only podcast you need normally to talk about appointment era television where things were played once or twice and nobody thought they'd ever be seen again, but now thanks to the magic of the internet, we can watch them all the time. But today we're talking about a 2014 movie that is called The Unauthorized SbtB story. It's true. It's all happening. My name is Zachariah, and I am joined with Time In.
Time out. This is Nathan, and this is the real start of the podcast. And I'm here with...
Time out. Jeremy Demery. Time in.
Time in.
That was amazing that you guys crossed streams, and in the middle of Nathan's time out, Jeremy broke through into Nathan's time out.
Yes.
That's the power of being a producer.
I have that kind of authority.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gross. You're sweating. Can you please stop pushing me out of the line?
Come on, guys. Smile.
All right. So, I feel like almost no introduction is needed for what we're talking about today. It's a Lifetime movie from 2014. This was the first of a series of movies that Lifetime did about 90s television shows. There was this, then there was the unauthorized Full House story, the unauthorized Beverly Hills 90210 story, the unauthorized Melrose Place story, all in 2015. They had a full year. Mm-hmm. And this is based, of course, on a book called Behind the Bell by Mr. Dustin Diamond, Screech himself. And I've been looking forward to this episode because I can take a nice little nap and Nathan can talk for an hour straight. And then I will give an outro because, as we talked about in episode 1 of this show, Nathan is inexplicable. There's so much that I love Nathan for in spite of these quirks of his personality, and that he loves Saved by the Bell. Talk a little bit about your Saved by the Bell past, your present, and the future, which is going to be us doing this episode.
Yeah, I'm a bona fide, I don't know what you call Saved by the Bell fans. Do you? Do you have?
You should know that.
Is there one?
Yeah, Bellheads.
I don't. Bellheads. No. I like Saved by the Bell just like as much as everyone else. You know. Yeah, I'm gonna.
No. Let's talk about that statement. I like Saved by the Bell as much as anyone else. For me, that would be not at all. Because it's an unfunny trash show with children who cannot act in sets made of cardboard. Right. Well, we can also talk about that sentence. I also didn't like the show when I was out, and I'm younger than you. So I want to hear how this show captured your imagination.
When you were 6, you were watching the Muppet Show going, I don't buy this.
I'm just saying in those first seasons, Gonzo was not fully formed as a character. He went from Sad Sack to the Gonzo we know today.
Yeah.
No, Tawin, you love this show. I have no problem with that. I just want to hear what your connection with this show was.
So the connection is I wanted to freaking be there. I wanted to be at the Max. I wanted to be at this school. So I was a sucker for any TV show that showed a cool place in California, you know, at least partially. I think that I don't know. I liked seeing other kids cooler than me.
Boy, that's where you and I were really different. I didn't care for that kind of imagery. I still don't.
Yeah, I reject that group of people now. But when I was in school, I was 100% on board with wanting to be one of them. You know, and which I feel like if you had been cool in school, you would have felt the exact same thing. But no, I have a little history with the show. I like it. I enjoy it. I watch it unironically. Some of it some of it is not. It does not, make me feel happy when I watch it. But the original piece, I stand by.
How many seasons was Saved by the Bell?
There were 4. There was the initial that was called when it was called Good Morning Miss Bliss, which was 1 season, and then I think there were 4 seasons of the main cast. I think that's right. And then there were like 7 or something of the new cast, and there was 1 of the college years, and then a couple of TV specials, which we'll do on this here show.
Well, the only one is Hawaiian Style, the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's 2 movies. There's Hawaiian Style and Wedding in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
So real quick, I want you to give a 1-sentence summary of each of the main characters of Saved by the Bell.
1-sentence summary of each of the main characters?
Yeah.
All right, you got Zach, who is the Aryan cool guy. Right? You got, and they're all rich except for one, but Zach is the Aryan cool guy, rich kid. You got Screech, Samuel Powers, who is the smart nerd. You've got Slater, who is the military brat. Jerry curled.
Wow, you are
tough
picking
guy.
the craziest describers for these characters. The first thing I think of when I think of Ace Lee Slater is not military brat.
I'm thinking very specific.
He's the hunk. He's a dumb long hunk.
Now people know my level of detail with this show. You got Kelly, who's the smoking hot cheerleader.
Now we're talking.
Who's poor.
Okay.
In the show. And then you have Lisa, who's the fashionista, who likes to shop. And she's black.
And there's
she's the black character.
And you're missing one of them.
And Jesse. Yeah. Jesse was always my least favorite. Jesse is the tree hugging, feminist, feminazi. All the stuff this show rails against.
I thought, now, of course, I am not such a super fan that the first thing I think of when I think of AC Slater is military brat, but I thought that Lisa was the rich one because she always talked about shopping. But are they all supposed to be same level of wealthy?
So, Zach is definitely rich. I mean, he's got the cell phone, the mobile phone. Lisa's definitely rich. They don't really go into Jesse's or Slater's or even Screech's, but Screech's parents are also like scientists. Basically they're in a rich. I don't understand why Kelly is even going to this school, because they're all in this like high class, rich, super rich area, and I always wondered why they made her out to be the poor one.
Were there storylines like I'm the only one without a car? Because it's not like they dressed Kelly in rags. She physically seems to be on the same financial level as everyone in terms of her appearance.
There's one episode where she can't afford a dress to the prom or something like that, and they talk about that. But I don't really know. Her dad didn't. I can't remember if her dad was out of work and she was having to work, or there was some. I don't know why they added that element to the thing and why they chose her, why it wouldn't have been Slater. But his dad was like a big military general or something.
I would guess that there was a lot of things laid down in the first year what they thought would be big character points that were quickly dropped or evaporated. Am I right in that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
be sure to cough right into the microphone.
Sorry, everyone. The show, they hit little pieces here and there, and then they just let them go away. There's siblings who you don't hear about anymore. There's obligations that characters have that stop being required later on, stuff like that.
Okay. There's obligations they were given that weren't required later on. Yeah. That is an interesting way to put
it. They were not obligated anymore to do these things.
Well, this, as I said, is based on a tell-all memoir that Dustin Diamond, TV Screech, wrote about his experience. Dustin Diamond, no longer on this earth.
Rest in peace.
It sounds like rest in peace, Dustin Diamond.
DD, double D.
Yeah. Dustin Diamond, you never knew, when I say you, I mean me. Part of me always felt bad for him because he obviously was cast as this nerd on a show, could never overcome it, seemed desperately unhappy all the time. If you ever saw an interview with him later, he was a stand-up comedian. He tried wrestling. He tried being in a band. He could just never pull it off. But your sympathies for him would immediately evaporate because he was the most bitter, gross, unfunny, untalented person who happened to be cast in this show of children. And as I think I said way back in episode 1, it's remarkable watching a season 1 episode of Saved by the Bell where they are really young. I mean, how young were they when they got hired for Miss Bliss? Were they 12?
They had to be. It was junior high kind of age,
Yeah. But I think
I don't know the
Diamond
actual ages.
I think he was the youngest member of the cast.
Oh, he was definitely the youngest. I think he turned 18 in the last season.
Okay.
Or something like that.
We're guessing he is maybe 12 or 13 in the first season, something around there.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
He is a better actor when he is a small child, and he got progressively worse as he got older. It's like he forgot how to tell jokes or act the older he got, while everyone else grew more competent around him.
What is that? I feel like he was, part of people who you would consider unpopular. It's just unfortunate. Like either they're not rich, so they're not hanging out with their rich kids. They're into at least when we were our age, they were into nerdy kind of culture things. So they pal around with those kids or whatever. But then there was that group of people who were just really obnoxious and, thought they were funnier than they were. And I'm sure that was me. I'm sure. Yeah. But I feel like that's why he wasn't well accepted in school, because he is so obnoxious all the time. And even in this, a book that he wrote, it was ghostwritten or whatever, but a book that he, it makes him look bad too, and almost the worst. Besides Slater, but
it's him telling stories that you can tell he thinks it makes him look sympathetic and awesome, and to everybody else, you're going, "Oh, you're the bad guy. You're the bad guy of this story." I saw him one time because I was seeing a friend of mine open for him at a comedy club, and he seemed to oscillate between being okay with being called Screech and putting Saved by the Bell on his promotional stuff. And then the second he shows up on stage, he goes, "I'm not going to talk about Saved by the Bell. I'm not Screech." Even though he does talk about it a little bit later on during the set. His jokes were so bad and so joke book gross, the audience just turned against him during the evening. And I've never seen an audience just like half of them start booing midway through a person who they pay for. This is his big closer. Is why do women fart after they pee? Because why wipe when you could blow dry? Good night, everybody. That was his closer. That was the heavy hitter for Dustin.
Gosh.
So he's never been funny. He's a gross guy. He's known for like his sex tape and for stabbing a dude before he passed away. So this novel, which was called Behind the Bell, again, it's a lot of very self-serving, poor me details that he still doesn't know how to make himself the victim, even though he has perpetually felt like a victim his entire life. Yeah. And so this movie, loosely based on this book, could be titled, Actually, Dustin Diamond is a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. ACKSHUALLY. Yeah, just very, yeah. The whole time I watched this, I'm like, you didn't even tell the people who wrote this book for you to make you look good.
But I think he thinks it does.
Right. Yes, of course. Yeah.
In his own mind. And
so that's why he ends up not being cool and popular, is because he just constantly thinks that everyone's, he's the guy who shows up and slaps you. And then when you don't laugh, he's like, come on, I was just joking.
And you can tell, never had a sense of humor about being on the show the way that every other member of the cast, they'll be game to, they'll put on like, a pink shirt or whatever and pose in Saved by the Bell stuff. Like they know it was a corny part of their past, but all of them for the most part have had post Saved by the Bell careers. And Dustin Diamond hoisting himself on his own petard, I'm sure, just like self-sabotaging himself at every turn, never had those opportunities. And I think it was just because he seems to have been such a dramatically unpleasant person to be with. But regardless, he is our movie's narrator. He will be the narrator of this film. Nathan, please walk us through how we are introduced into the world of the unauthorized Saved by the Bell story.
So they're all in a limo and they're pulling up to a public space for some event, and everyone in the audience.
Public space?
Yes, a public. I was going to say mall, but I don't think it's a mall. It's like they're just at an event, and they're wondering, are people going to show up? Because they're still just trying to figure out if the show is actually successful. They get there, everyone's there. Zach says time out. And he starts talking to the TV to tell us all this story about Behind the Bell, but then actually Screech comes in and says time out, and now the real story begins.
Well, the thing he does, it sets the tone for Dustin Diamond being an unpleasant person, because Zach turns, does the timeout. Dustin comes in and he goes, hold on, it's not your story anymore. He is being such a dick about it from sentence one. So immediately the audience, this would be an interesting movie. I mean, it's a Lifetime movie, and spoiler, all the gross and scandalous stuff, the reason why you would watch an unauthorized Lifetime movie is not in this movie.
No.
There is no sex. There is
very tame.
Little sippy sips of alcohol. Mm-hmm. And there is infighting in the fact that somebody shoves somebody's shoulder.
Yes. And it never goes anywhere.
It's nothing torrid. No. But if this had been a movie and Screech was being set up like an anti-hero, like if they were in on the joke that this guy was a monster, but he thought he was doing the right thing, that would be very interesting. But this movie is not interesting. So I'm pitching a new one to you, Lifetime, if you want to give me some money to do this now that
he's passed away.
R.I.P. over here for Double D.
Yeah. yeah. From the jump, he's a bad dude, and like you said, he doesn't see it.
So he takes us to when he times us out.
We go straight to what does happen?
We go to 89.
Audition.
Yeah.
What's that?
We go to 1989 for the auditions for Miss Bliss. Remember, because the director puts us in all these long Goodfellas-style tracking shots where he's trying to disguise the fact that nothing happens in this movie, so we're walking behind a character through hallways a lot. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so Screech is going in for the audition. They show all the auditions, and we meet this woman executive who is the worst.
She's the Skylar White of this production company from Breaking Bad.
Oh, right.
She, every time the production has an idea for the show, she's like, that's against the rules.
That's a bad idea. And also, I'm going to say something racist.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this...
Meaning her character. That was not Nathan getting ready to say something racist.
Yeah, no, I was not setting you up.
He was giving Jeremy an out point for an edit.
Yeah, there's always there's always a good idea, and there's always the most obvious idea, and she's like, that'll never work. And then they cut to, it's worked. Or, Lisa comes in to read for someone, and it's she's black, but the lady's like, I thought we wanted someone Jewish, or it's always like something.
In front of the actress, by the way.
Yeah,
not in private. She leans over to the guy in front of her audition while she's reading lines and goes, I thought she was supposed to be Jewish.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, not anymore.
And then she snaps her finger.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. She was the worst actor of all of them, right?
Are we talking in the reality of Lifetime movie or the reality of the show?
In the Lifetime movie.
They're all
of the kids.
They're all pretty bad, but it's odd because they're also better actors than the actual actors on Saved by the Bell. So it's an odd curve that you're grading on. Also, these kids have, at least for the boys, the most hilarious wigs I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh. I wrote that down. I was like,
did they just go to the Halloween store a second before they filmed and break them out of the boxes?
How could they have not figured out the hair? Did they just there is no curl on Slater's hair. It's just a mullet. Slater had
it's an interesting look on that guy, isn't it?
Yeah. He had a Jerry curl, but instead he looks like an extra in a Billy Joel Uptown Girl video.
Also, well, it doesn't help that Screech kind of looks like Screech.
I think he does, but again, even his hair is not as curly.
Oh, I'm talking about their faces.
Yeah,
I mean the kid who plays Mario Lopez. I guess he's an interesting looking kid. He's a good looking guy, I guess, but he is troll like compared to actual Mario Lopez. Must have been pissed when he saw this little ghoul playing him.
Yeah, and although I will say that I feel like his voice reminded me of Slater's. I feel like he got it down a little bit.
Okay. Nobody's doing an impression of the characters either. There's a scene where Zack and Screech are doing their first audition together, and they are both giving it a medium effort to make it sound like the characters on the show, and then that's dropped forever.
Yeah, I mean, Dustin Diamond, I think he has kind of a speech impediment a little bit when he's a kid. And there's nothing that in this. There's no
he's not even doing the Screech voice.
Right.
Because Dustin Diamond would do the whoa, whoa. He's never doing that. Maybe he embarrassed the actor.
Well, initially Screech doesn't do that. Initially Screech doesn't do that. In the
but
Good
his
Morning
voice
Miss
his voice used to be higher when he was a little kid. I think he was just trying to do it when his voice changed. Which
is interesting because they are the same actors for the entire show, and when you see Zack and Screech and Lisa as little kid in the first episode of Good Morning Miss Bliss to when they're graduating in the last episode, I mean they're adults now.
Yeah, right.
So but they don't change their appearance in any way.
It's very distracting and very confusing because it's the same face. I felt like they cast all these actors very young. The kid playing Zack looks like a kid 10 years younger than actual Zack. And he's in a school play about the 80s.
There's also a character from Good Morning Miss Bliss, one of the kids who they do not touch on at all. And he was a main actor in the Good Morning Miss Bliss series.
Yeah, well, one less actor they have to hire for this movie. But the fact that they don't age makes it very confusing in the fact that I know I'm supposed to be watching 4 years go by, but it looks like this all happened in an afternoon.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're wearing the exact same outfits. Nothing has changed at all from the first episode to the last.
They should go back and Irishman this movie and age up all the characters with CGI.
I think that's worth doing.
Also, was it distracting that the actor playing Dustin Diamond looked more like Shia LaBeouf than Dustin Diamond? I wondered if it was a lesser LaBeouf, but it's not.
has Shia LaBeouf played Screech in any like parody or something? I feel like he did some kind of parody with that.
I mean, that would have been great casting. I don't think he has. I can look that
like
up.
Like a Funny or Die video or something. I can't remember.
Walk us through the other highlights of these people's journey.
So my favorite is probably initially when they're in Good Morning Miss Bliss years. They show that Zack and Screech are great friends behind the scenes, and they're supposed to be friends. Like that's really what Screech's kind of complaint is about this whole setup. Is that initially in Good Morning Miss Bliss, he and Zack were supposed to be the main thrust of the show. When the show comes back as Saved by the Bell, it's really Zack and Kelly, and so now Screech is kind of bummed about that. And in the initial show, I don't think Screech really was a dork in the Good Morning Miss Bliss years. They were all kind of on the same level.
They were just kids.
Right, because Zack tries to join this cool kid group. And, so they weren't even part of the cool kids like they are in the later years. But there's a scene where they're rehearsing, like Lisa and Zack are rehearsing or someone. And Screech is in the back making the extras laugh. And what he's doing to make them laugh is he's making a duck sound, going like quack quack quack.
He's
quack,
not just
quack,
making
quack,
the sound.
He's doing the wings.
He's doing the Chicken
quack,
Tonight dance and squatting on the ground.
like quack quack quack, and everyone's just dying laughing, like
including
they
the
can't
adults,
believe it.
Except for the producer of the show, Haley Mills. The principal, they are rolling over this kid making a duck. He's acting like a duck over there.
Quack 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 quack. Everyone's like, they can't. And it's like when the show gets canceled and Screech and Dustin Diamond has to go back to school, and he's like a loser again. He's telling his dad like school sucks. I wish I was on the show again. I was like, did he like no one at school is impressed by this duck impression? That's why he's such a loser.
Can you imagine being an actor on a show? You already have to like work with children, which is challenging sometimes. And then in the corner, there's this spazzy nerd making duck noises while you're trying to do your lines. You are not going to think that's funny for a second. But in Dustin Diamond's head, they were like, I was killing with this duck impression. Everyone thought, even Haley Mills thought it was funny.
I love that. I love that he's like, we got to show a scene that shows me being really funny. And they're like, okay, give us a time where you like really did something funny.
What do you remember from that?
Yeah. What's the time where you really got the cast laughing, like a prank you pull? It's like, oh, there was this one time I did a duck impression.
Oh, and what did you do with that, Dustin?
What do you mean? I did an impression of a duck. I went quack 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 with my arms. Quack,
so you were. So you were just walking around quacking.
Yeah, an impression of a duck. What do you think it is? You idiot! Everyone hates me.
No! It's good. It's good. Tappy, tappy, tap, tap, tappy, tappy.
You see what I mean? This is what I mean.
And then the scene ends with Zach Morris going, "This guy's great."
Yeah. Who do you think gets the worst rep on this show? Like who
Mario
is supposed
Lopez.
to?
Mario Lopez.
Yes. Right.
Mario Lopez is finger blasting everybody in the table during table reads. He's doing push-ups. He's smarmy. He thinks he's so cool.
He treats Dustin Diamond like a joke, which, fair point. But, but yeah, like.
Well, yes, sometimes you see Dustin or just being annoying. But the other times, I was laughing out loud when everybody was reacting like a child to something, and Dustin was the voice of maturity and reason. Like they were all bummed out because the reviews rightfully said, "Oh, this show is bad and no one can act," and everyone's crying about it. Some of them literally are crying. He's like, "I hate these guys," and Dustin goes, "Who cares? Who cares what the critics think?" Like, I'm sure that's what you said, Dustin. You as the youngest member of the cast.
But then immediately Zach's like, he reads a review of Screech saying he's the worst, and he just runs away. Like he can't even hold on to the voice of reason. Like he can't even write a story where he continues to be the good guy. Then okay, so Slater, like that's the one thing I wonder about Slater. Like okay, so one thing we have to know about this story is that, like we said, it's written by Screech, but it's ghostwritten, and Screech has Dustin Diamond had come out since then and said that it's not real, that some of it's real, but it's exaggerated, and he didn't even write it, and he feels sorry for writing this book, right?
Well, I believe with half that statement. I believe a lot of the stuff in the book didn't happen. I do not believe that Dustin was not responsible, nor did he feel bad about it.
Okay. Whatever the case may be, he does apologize.
You read a book with your name on it before it goes to the publisher. If you really have a problem with it, you can say we're not doing pages 9, 10, or whatever.
I understand. He is the worst. I have no problem saying this. I'm just saying he has
hold on. You really start. Oh, I forget you're doing an alternate. I'm sorry, cut that out. You were your audio was cutting way out, but I forgot you're doing another audio track.
So anyways, okay, stop and go. The point is he's saying that the book isn't true. So we can't read any of this stuff and say, "Oh, this is what is real." It's hard to know what really is real, what happened, whatever. So Mario Lopez being a douchebag, right, in this show, is that real?
I'm sure it's half real. I'm sure those kids were insufferable at the end.
Okay, right. So that's the thing. Like, how much of that was real? How much of it was him making fun of Dustin Diamond, or did he make fun of Dustin Diamond, or what? Was he that kind of person? Yeah,
probably all of them were. But Dustin Diamond was also being a monster. As we see later, he gets on drugs and alcohol, and I can't imagine how much that monstered him up. Right. But the thing that's so weird about this Unauthorized, as I said before, nobody really looks that bad. They just look a little catty and petty sometimes.
I think Mario looks really bad in this.
Yeah, I mean, he comes off the worst. But in terms of what I'm sure, did you read the book? Have you read Behind the Bell?
No, I can't do that.
I'm sure
I'm not that much of a fan, I guess.
So Dustin Diamond famously, I don't think he's talking about when he was on the show, but he famously has said, like, I slept with over 2,000 women. And so that's why you would watch a Lifetime movie, right? You're watching it for the debauchery and for the craziness and the fights. And it's amazing how, for as long a time period as they're talking about, it's just very non-event. Almost nothing happens in this movie. You kind of watch them go on TV, and then it gets canceled, and then it gets re-upped, and you see the kids learning to read their lines right and believe in themselves. And as tawdry as it gets is Zack and Kelly rehearsing their stage kiss in Zack's dressing room. And it is the most chaste, cutesy Disney movie kiss. Mm-hmm. It's odd because if this is supposed to be Dustin dishing out the dirt, there's really no dirt.
No.
So it just comes across as a petty grown man reminiscing.
There's two points. Like, there's not even really any kind of sex stuff. Like, there's one, like Slater, it's implied that he will not, he will be with someone, and then Dustin Diamond, says that he got laid at something one time. But it's really just very, like, even Zack and Kelly, when they drink the wine, they spit it out. Like, the only person who's doing anything is Screech.
There has to be a wilder version of this script, and then a lawyer went through it and was crossing out whatever would be considered libel.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We cannot say this person was doing coke off somebody's breast at a party. They will come after us.
Yeah, they even have a party, and he's just, like, drinking champagne. Like, Zach's just drinking champagne. Like,
The actor playing Zack has a very odd look and energy to him, and he seems like a 38-year-old Colin Farrell. Doesn't he seem like kind of like an actor who's in the middle of his career?
Yeah, it does seem I thought he was good. I thought he acted okay in this.
Yeah, he was fine. He's had a real career though. He's on a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
As an actor, which you can tell.
Yeah. I have a friend who won a date with Mario Lopez during this time period.
Did you say he won a date?
She won a date with Mario Lopez during this time period.
Okay.
With Slater.
Yeah.
And she went on the date, and at the end of the date, he asked her to go up to his room.
Oh.
And she declined.
Okay. How do you react?
That's the story. How do I react?
How did she react? Or I'm sorry, how did he react? How did Mario Lopez? Was he like, "You're lost," or was he okay about it?
I don't know. I guess I didn't hear. That part of the story is unclear. That's all I've heard.
Do you think she's telling the truth?
Yeah.
Okay.
The story is not told in a very nonchalant and very like matter of fact, like just, oh yeah, that happened,
Mm-hmm. So your friend's a loser. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
Yeah, she couldn't hack it.
And that's why she has no show business career.
That's right.
So wait, what did she win this through? Was it like a Kraft macaroni and cheese mail away or something?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was just win a date with AC Slater.
So she went on a unchaperoned date with AC Slater when they were both teenagers. That was the prize of this contest. That's insane. And he drove her around?
Yeah, I don't have all the details. It was just one of those stories that you hear, and then
okay. It's crazy because I would think legally, if anything happened on this date, now Kraft Macaroni and Cheese is going to be sued for not providing like safety for this young woman.
Well, there probably was I'm sure there was chaperone or something. I'm sure there was something, and it was just.
So you think the chaperone was like, "Well, do you want to come up?"
I don't think he was standing there. I think it was probably in the limo or something like that. Like, I'm sure Mario Lopez was like, "Hey, let me go say goodnight to her" or something. Like I'm sure there was something like. I don't know.
Are you still friends with this? Are you still friends with this friend?
No, it's been years.
Could you call them up and get this story recorded later? I want to hear this story. Why?
You know what? I could ask some people that. Because this was a girl that was, when I was a kid, she was older than me and was related to one of our family friends, Okay. So like it wouldn't be like I
can see why you couldn't talk to her then.
I don't even know where she is or how to even get in touch with her.
Yeah, okay, honestly. Nathan, this big friend of yours. Can I talk to you about some things I loved?
She was a best friend. She was my best friend. And I'm very sad about not knowing her.
Here's some things I loved in this movie, and it's some of the props, some of the funniest props. When they go, anytime they're on a Hollywood set, people are wheeling around giant, oversized props that would never be in a movie. It is something that makes me so happy. Is people like the magic of the movies, and people are walking around in space suits or something. Because Screech goes onto this Hollywood set, and there is a guy wheeling in a giant hamburger, followed by a giant Rio de Janeiro Jesus statue. I'm like, what production is this?
And a big T-Rex as well.
Yes, a big dinosaur goes by. It's so funny.
Also, whenever you're in a teenager's room in that time period, they inevitably will always have the British flag hanging somewhere. What is cool about that? What was there? Was that like some kind of like didn't Ferris Bueller have one too? Like, is that some kind of like punk rock thing or something?
It could be that. I don't know. Let's see. They were a big Oasis fan. They love the new British invasion.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. It's probably, I think cheap wool covering has a lot. A flag really covers things up, and maybe a giant American flag looks a little odd for a teenager's room.
Yeah, well, yeah. Not down here.
This is a very nuts and bolts thing to notice, but whenever Screech goes in for his audition, there are big carpet squares up on the wall like you would have in a sound recording studio and really nowhere else. So they were definitely converting a sound recording studio into a set for that day because it was probably cheap. And the third favorite prop is whenever they're complaining that the kids are taking sexy pictures and putting them in magazines, and Slater's on the cover of a magazine. Did you see the name of the magazine?
What was it?
Cheetah Beat. Not Tiger Beat.
Nice.
Cheetah Beat.
Love it. Did you, what about the scene where, Screech gets upset about something, and I thought for sure that they were going to show him going off and like just getting wasted. Instead, it's him like doing like really strong karate.
Well, that follows the scene where Screech, I love this scene where the Elizabeth Berkley actress is very excited because she's going to be doing the infamous "I'm so excited" pill addiction scene, which,
yes,
if you're ever on the internet, you know that there's a scene where she is a storyline where she's addicted to caffeine pills, and she starts acting to the heavens, doing the "I'm so excited, I'm so scared." And the character does this in a line rehearsal, and everybody is struck with the power of the scene, except for the man who can see the bigger picture. Dustin Diamond.
He's ahead of his time.
He's ahead of his time. He sees how ridiculous this whole facade is, and he starts laughing, which, if you're watching somebody act and you start laughing at them, I don't care what the scene is. That's maybe the rudest thing you can possibly do. And everyone treats it as such, which is, why are you being so mean to this teen girl doing the lines that she has not written? She's been given. And Screech gets mad that people are mad at him. So he storms out and he meets the only Asian person we meet in this special.
No.
No. Oh, sorry.
Zach Morris is Asian. He's Indonesian.
Oh, I forgot. He is partially Asian. It's a guy with hair that stands straight up, and he has a puka shell necklace.
He's from The Good Place, the TV show.
That's how I know that
That's
actor.
how you know him.
That's how I know that actor. He's sipping straight vodka out of a flask. He gives some of the vodka to Screech, and thus he becomes Screech's best friend and worst influence. This guy who looks 20 years older than Screech is now hanging out with him and giving him drugs and alcohol. Because
that's probably the most realistic part of the movie.
Well, the part where the reality ends is we realize that he's been hanging out with Screech because he wants to get a guest star role on Saved by the Bell. He wants to get some of that obscene Saved by the Bell money.
He says, "You're living the dream."
Oh, yeah, because there are so many adults in the audience for this teen show that no adult liked or really knew about when it was being filmed. But when you look at the live studio audience for Saved by the Bell, do you think it's 50% people over the age of 50?
There's a couple of kids, and then it's all relatives of the actors, is what it feels like, because they keep cutting to them.
Yeah, laughing up a storm.
Yeah. This guy, by the way, they don't really, he gives them booze here and there, but he like sticks up for him. Like,
you're talking about bad influence, man?
Yeah. Like he's not, I don't feel like they sold him enough as being that kind of person.
Nobody is bad enough in this movie. Nobody's trashy enough in this movie.
Yeah. They do. There is one nod because at some point in this world, Screech in real life, Dustin Diamond makes a how to play chess video, which you can watch on YouTube, or at least clips of it. I'm not sure if you can watch the whole thing or not. And it's ridiculous. He sold it as a VHS tape. And there is a nod to this in the scene with the British flag and with his dad. There's a chessboard sitting right there.
It's a cavalcade of awkward and also racially offensive humor watching, because Dustin Diamond considered himself quite the chess master. So he sold a VHS of how to play chess, but he decided to inject a little humor into it. So sometimes when he's instructing you on the secrets, he will cut to another character where he is a funny sheik or a funny bandito.
Or a duck.
Does he do the duck? Does the duck come back?
I don't know if he does the duck.
That's why the tape didn't sell.
No, yeah, I think he saved the duck for the live shows. Did he do the duck at your show?
He didn't do the duck.
Well, now we know why the audience turned.
Does anything of note happen in this movie-length special that is worth mentioning?
No, it's so like they talk a little bit about Lisa Turtle or Lark Voorhees' faith because she's a Jehovah's Witness. They kind of touch on that a little bit. They touch on the forbidden relationship between him and her, between Zack.
But it doesn't go anywhere. They don't do anything with it. They just talk about it, and it's sort of a problem, but not really.
Yeah, and Jesse, they kind of hint at Jesse and Slater a little bit, like because Screech says, Dustin Diamond says, if you saw them together on the show, then they probably were that way in real life. So there's a couple things like that, like nothing really, like all the stuff you already think and know of Saved by the Bell happens in this movie.
Right, as a person with the most surface level knowledge of this show, I knew everything they were talking about.
Yeah, probably from me.
Well, yeah, at least half. Can you tell us about the ending scene? Speaking of things that made me sad, this ending made me sad. I know it's supposed to be uplifting, but
it's weird. So he goes through. They filmed the last episode, which is a graduation. And then Dustin Diamond times himself out to tell what happened to everyone. How everyone went on to have careers, and then they don't really give any details about him. Right? He doesn't say.
So he goes from cast member to cast member. First of all these extras are terrible at doing timeout. They're blinking.
Oh, they're blinking?
They're shifting around uncomfortably.
Yeah.
He goes from cast member to cast member, and he goes, and Boo-Boo-Boo? Well, he's doing Foo-Foo-Foo. And this person? She's doing okay. She's on Broadway. And then at the end, he goes, and me? Well, it's okay if people call me Screech. It's a statement like that because Dustin Diamond had no career.
Well,
so the ending is, and me, I made this movie.
Yeah, I know. Well, it says the end-ish at the end of the movie.
I think that they were implying that they wanted to make a sequel about the Hawaiian years of them all being older, or saying that their story has not ended. At the least,
I don't know. Okay. So what happens to him is he goes on to do more Saved by the Bell, and everyone else doesn't. So what is that? What they mean by the end ish?
I think that they're implying that life goes on.
Yeah, that was a very confusing end.
Can I tell you the thing I was praying would be in this movie when it came up, but I realized the timeline wouldn't work out. So Elizabeth Berkley quit the show because she wanted to become an actress, and it really didn't work out for her for a minute. And then she did Showgirls, and then she kind of had to recover from Showgirls, and now she's a fairly steadily working actor. Yeah. I didn't realize that Showgirls came out so far after Saved by the Bell had been canceled. So she's left the show. All the rest of the cast members are at the party. She comes in to awkwardly say hi to them. I was praying that she would be with Paul Verhoeven, the director of Showgirls, as they famously dated. Like Paul Verhoeven was in his 50s and she was in her 20s, and he was married, but they had an affair. I was hoping we'd get to see an actor playing Paul Verhoeven at this party, like, oh yeah, she told me all about you. I love RoboCop. Oh yeah, thank you. It's a metaphor.
Yeah, I know. There's lots of stuff I was like, I wish they would have gone through all that, but it really was just that specific era But and now they're all doing the show again in the reboot.
Are all of them on?
Yeah, everyone except Screech didn't. I think
Screech was too dead.
No, he wasn't. No, they were. I think they were trying to. I think they were trying to talk about season 2 with him. Maybe. Maybe. I think Lark was on just a clip. Like she was I can't remember if she zoomed in or they just mentioned her or what, but she wasn't a big part. But everyone else is a big part of the show.
This guy was so toxic, even as an adult. Like, remember whenever Jimmy Fallon did one of his hysterical sketches where people who you knew when you were a kid are coming back out on stage in their old costumes. Nothing fun here.
Very funny.
All there except for Dustin Diamond because people don't want to deal with him that much.
Like, do you think they reached out and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna need $10,000"?
I think he is his own worst enemy, and I think that he was insulted that they wanted him to play Screech, and then I don't know. He was like double guessed himself, or he wanted to feel slighted, so he said, "Oh, they didn't ask me," which cannot be true unless one of the actors didn't want to work with him so badly because of something. I mean,
I won't be back if Diamond's there.
I'll keep this as vague as possible because I don't want to speak ill of the dead or be accused of libel. So, and this just occurred to me, and it is, I want to stress, completely a theory. Dustin Diamond may have attempted or done something on set that would be a reason why one of the other cast members might not feel safe around him.
Yeah, that could be.
And let's leave it at that. But it kind of has that flavor to it. Not to be too much of a downer.
I'll say this. They all very much very professionally, very professional response to his death.
Absolutely. Yeah. All class acts for people who have just been slandered nonstop by him.
Yeah. I enjoyed this thing. This is the second time I've watched it. And I enjoyed it. I enjoy this. I think it's fun to watch. If you like Saved by the Bell, this is fun, even though, it's a load of crap. And I recommend viewing this. It's fun.
I think if you are a fan of bad recreation movies, this is a lot of fun.
I'm interested in all the other ones.
I have a funny feeling like we might discover more about them in the future.
Yeah, the Full House one especially.
We got to do Full House.
Yeah, the picture, the promotional shot of all the people playing them was funny. Was already funny.
Well, I'm laughing. So, listeners, if you want to laugh more in the future, please join us next time on Network Special. It's always a joy to talk about these things with you, and it's always a joy to know that you, the listener, have to sit there and take it and listen, and you keep your mouth shut. Thank you, everyone.
Time out.
Time out.
Time out. Now, let's talk about the real unauthorized episode, Saved by the Bell. Time in.
Time in. That'll be off mic.
I was really hoping that someone else would time out into this episode, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Oh, I thought I was really winding things down, but I guess I can't really wind things down. Okay, let me see.
So I'm just going to keep going on with the episode.
There's somebody. Hold on.
What?
Hold on. There's somebody at the door. Let me go see what this is. Screen.
Oh.
Hello?
Stoney!
Hey, I just been watching the craziest movie.
What movie?
It was something about, I thought I was watching Saved by the Bell, but then I thought, these kids look weird and it's not very funny.
Is that because you're too high?
Oh, hey, come on, man. Don't blow my cover.
Why do you?
I don't really have a comment about what I was watching, and there's no easy joke I can think of that would tie into it. So, I just came in because I saw the door. There was people talking behind it.
And you saw the recording sign lit up?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry I didn't have any big pop for this week. It can't always be gold, man.
I laughed.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to get going.
Okay, man. See you later.
Oh, that was worth it. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.